Hello fellow astrologers, welcome back to the next video in our Astrology Keyring Fundamental series. This video is what is an element? In this video we're going to talk about all the basics about what are the four elements, what are all the different signs, planets, and houses that are connected to them. We're just going to touch on them briefly because later on in the video series itself we'll actually go over the different topics individually in more detail. But right now we're going to show how all these things connect to each one of their elements from a basic level and show how important that elements are one of the most key factors in understanding what astrology is. In Western astrology, the 12 signs are grouped in 4 elements: fire, earth, air, and water. Each of these elements has 3 signs that naturally flow together, forming what is called a trine, which makes them all 120 degrees apart on the Zodiac wheel. These elements aren't just labels, they represent deeper qualities. Fire signs tend to be passionate and dynamic. Earth signs are grounded and practical. Air signs are intellectual and communicative, and water signs are emotional and intuitive. The element a sign belongs to gives us insight into how it expresses itself, reacts to the world, and relates to others. It's one of the fundamental tools we use in astrology to understand personalities, compatibilities, and even life purpose. So, back when I started doing astrology, we used to have to look up a bunch of things in books to find a lot of this information. We couldn't actually Google things like you can now. But one of the nice things about our series is that we've put individual links, all of these are links, to all the different topics that we're going to be talking about. And one of the nice things about starting at the top at elements, you have the largest amount of links to click in. You'll also have a large collection when we get later on into modality. There's a large collection of links for them too, because you'll see that one of the biggest things about astrology is that every sign is a combination of an element and a quadruplicity. As you can see here, the triangles are all the elements, and all the squares here are the quadruplicities or the modalities. As you can see right here, and modalities is going to be part of the B series, which is the next series we're going to get into when we talk about the cardinal, the fixed, and the mutable. But this series right here, we're going to start talking about the elements. So let's go ahead and read these right here. Fire is the passionate force that fuels action, sparks inspiration, and burns brightly with confidence and desire. Earth is the steady foundation that builds, grounds, and brings vision into practical, lasting form. Air is the breath of thought. It moves through ideas, communication, and connection with great curiosity. Water is the deep current of emotion and intuition, flowing through memory, feeling, and soulful connection. Okay, let's look at how they all connect on the key ring here. As you can see right here, this is the first house. This is the first element of fire here. Starts here at the beginning. Over here is the element of earth, this triangle. Air is the yellow one, and water is the blue one. You'll see at every corner there's a different sign, like Leo, Sagittarius for Aries, Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn, and they all have their respective signs. Houses gives the information. And if you look over here, we have the element, also known as triplicity, and I'll show each one is. And one key thing to remember about elements, they always go in this order: fire, earth, air, and water. Fire, earth, air, water. Fire, earth, air, water. Always go in that order. Let's go back to the original page and go over the interesting facts. All signs in an element are 120 degrees from each other, making a trine. Okay, so that brings back to these triangles. They're called triplicities because they're called trines. I know there's 4 different elements. Some people say, well, why are they called triplicities if there's 4 of them? That's because they make a perfect trine. And so when we get to the F series in the book, we'll go over more in detail what all the angles are. But you'll find that trine is one of the best angles you'll ever get when you're talking about connections between planets. When planets are trine in charts, we'll go over that again more in detail in the F section. But it's an interesting thing to know that anytime you hear something that's trine, they also tend to be in the same element, unless they're cuspy, but that's a whole other section in itself. We go over cusps more in detail at the end of the C series on C13. Elements are also known as triplicities because of the triangles they make. Again, that just reiterates what I was just saying. Because of the triangles, they're triplicities. A 120-degree aspect is called a trine and is a very harmonious aspect. So that covers all of those different important things. Because they're trine and they're all the same element, you tend to always be harmonious, as opposed to quadruplicities, the squares, tend to be a lot more discordant, but we'll get into more why that happens later on in the B series. Well, that pretty much covers what is an element. We'll go in more detail, A1, the element of fire, in the next video, as well as the other elements in the preceding videos. Feel free to go and check those out. We hope you have enjoyed this video from our Astrology Keyring series. If you like the content, please like, follow, and share with your friends. Thank you for watching and have a blessed journey.